I do want to go right now to John Yoo, the former Deputy Assistant Attorney General, helps us out on these legal matters. John, always good to see you. You know, the $250 million bail, I think you put up 10%, but we were told certainly that he didn't have the money, certainly not that kind of money, that he had lost his billions. So where did this dough come from?
Neil, usually in these kind of situations, there'll be some kind of bail bondsman, something like that, that will lend him the money. He's probably not that strong of a flight risk. He's staying at home with his parents. It's probably because his parents are both Stanford law professors. He might be hanging out in Stanford faculty housing for the next few months. So it's probably a good, I think it's mostly symbolic. When you're talking about $250 million bond, it's almost like saying we're just going to let him go 50, 100 million. The amount is really symbolic to show how important this is to the government and to the courts to give him a fair trial.
You know, you mentioned the parents, but weren't they being scrutinized as well? And I'm just thinking the oddity of that.
Well, as a law professor, I don't want law professors' kids to be thrown in jail in general. But, look, this is the problem, is you've got people already turning government's witnesses here, and they're going to be turning around and testifying against Bankman-Fried. Anybody who's receiving money from Bankman-Fried who knows that it was illegally taken from FTX and then pulled over and used for his personal accounts, used to buy his parents' houses, used to buy political contributions and so on, they might be at risk because it depends how much knowledge did they have of these illegal transfers and did they do anything to help. I don't think that the parents would have participated in an illegal scheme, but they're still definitely going to be scrutinized, as are, I think, a lot of people who might have benefited and received money from Bankman-Fried.
All right. Meanwhile, the fact that two former confidants, this Caroline Ellison and, of course, Gary Wang, they're obviously singing like canaries. They've made some sort of a deal to cooperate with the government. If you're Sam Bankman-Fried, what do you think?
I would say plead early, plead often. The best thing he can do is never go to trial, because if you've already got people like his top two lieutenants already agreeing to the government that they will testify against Bankman-Fried, I don't know how he's going to put up a successful defense that he didn't know what was going on, because they're going to say, oh, Bankman-Fried told me to do this. Bankman-Fried told me to move the money here and there. Remember, Bankman-Fried's up, I think, on 7 or 8 counts of federal mail and wire fraud,
right,
securities fraud, 20 years each. He's talking about potentially over 100 years in prison. It's to his advantage to plead now and plead and hope to get a good case from the government, good plea from the government.
All right. Last time I had you here, I was at least liking it to the Ponzi scheme that Bernie Madoff was famous for, building and ultimately landed him in jail until he died in jail. He did, though, through the trial, get to stay out of jail, stay in his apartment in New York, I believe, at the time. In this case, Bankman-Fried is going to do the same right to be at home or his parents' home. We don't know where ultimately that will be. But should he worry? To your point, this could be a short-lived freedom.
Yes, I think that the government, given how quickly they're moving, given the plea bargains they're getting, they, I think, want to make an example of Bankman-Fried. They're not going to go away unless they get some significant jail time, just as they did with Madoff. Remember, Madoff got such a long sentence, I think over 100 years.
That's right.
He died in prison. And so Bankman-Fried's got to be worried that the government wants to make a symbol out of him, too. So he should hope to plead quickly and maybe get a reduced sentence, plea his age, maybe plead, it sounds like in your report, mental illness, maybe plead factor. He didn't understand what was going on, really, but he really should never go to trial. That would be a disaster for him.
Yeah, and he's a lot younger man, too, about 35 years younger than when certainly Madoff was in the same position. But still, if found guilty on all these charges, he, too, could end up in jail the rest of his life. John Yoo, thank you very much, my friend.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.